Good evening. This meeting is being recorded for cablecast and YouTube presentation by Area 58 Community Access Media. The video of this meeting is not to be considered an official public record. And this is the Public Safety Building Committee meeting. Should we start with that? Failed. Okay, let's take care of our business. We have minutes from the 28th of February. Any additions or amendments? Motion to accept these as written.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that part's done. We have the annual report. Did everybody get a chance to look it over?
The only adjustment that's been made since everybody saw this was I alphabetized the names at the bottom,
Okay.
for what it's worth.
Here he comes.
So other than that, any,
Sit down here.
Oh, this will be a good meeting.
Whoa,
Yeah,
that's a tripping hazard.
that's booby trap.
I told you it's you.
I can't say that.
court for the,
That'd be me too. I can't lift my leg that high.
Sorry. They told me to do that.
but you were supposed to push him. Okay, any amendments on the annual
Smell
report?
like pizza at all.
No, it has a nice cigar in the way down, sorry.
You want to sit here in the middle?
No, you won't put any on just the hideout.
All right, Bob, any amendments on the annual report?
No.
Okay, motion to accept it as written.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
I'll
that's,
have that off in the morning, or
Okay.
tonight, rather.
thank you. You can just send it to her.
Yeah.
I thought you said-
I gotta put it in a PDF and send it to her.
We do have, Dan, did you bring that context invoice?
Number 9,
I think it should have been number 11.
11, yeah, I have it. I have it signed. I left it on my desk.
Okay, so email it to me tomorrow.
Yeah, you can vote, it's 11, it's 10,450.
So motion to approve context invoice for 10,000.
For January.
For January,
How much? 10,000 what?
450.
450. And would you pass this one on to Dan? This is another one, number 12 has come for your approval.
I really don't like their new, I mean, am I the only one who thinks that looks like they crossed it out?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes,
I mean, is that stupid or what?
Yeah,
and there's initials on it, so we all think
This
that
is
you
the
already signed
designer of your
off.
new police station.
terrible.
You'd at least think they could have some sort of logo at the top. It looks like
I know.
Joe Schmo's Crab
I'm gonna
Shack.
tell them, well, the 3 of them got bounced because you put an X through it.
Gonna be a lot of whining. over
Okay,
it
so
tonight.
motion to approve invoice number
So
11.
moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in
You
favor?
get used to it.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay, good. So when Dan sends that to me, I will forward on to the selectmen for payment.
And how much is that one?
This
That's
one's
the one we just
12,000.
talked
Oh,
about.
same one.
That
Number?
one,
No, this is 12.
well, did you approve that?
Yeah, that's fine, it's bidding and bidding's
All
all
right, so
done.
motion to approve invoice number 12 for $12,000.
Can I sign it?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, so that's two invoices. I will give that one to Bree. I'll put it in the selectmen's mailbox tonight. All right, let's talk about moving the stuff since you've sort of already been talking about it a little bit.
Put a pain in the neck. Been running around. Got a call in for the Connex box out there. We've got a storage container for some of our equipment and other various sundries. But just slated to move that tomorrow between 12 and 2. I'll be out there in blue jeans tomorrow, emptying it out, and doing some electrical work, unhooking it from the electrical systems.
Yeah.
And we're still waiting on Cisco to come down to move the fire department trailer over to the transfer station.
Okay,
We have spoken with highway department and people at the transfer station for a location to put both of these, and as soon as we can, we will.
okay, as long as we can
All right.
stay ahead of our builders' needs, we're good. Dan, do you want to speak to anything about your meeting with the selectmen or the budget
Well, we have a
adjustments that we
selectman
made?
here. The bond did come in. The bond wasn't signed, and they corrected
Pass that
that.
down to Dan. and-
And you have a signed bond?
So this is the actual payment performance bond. I'm gonna give it to you.
Okay.
And if you would put it in a safe place, like above a ceiling tile or something, no one knows where it is.
Okay.
All right?
I guess it's
But you
important.
can notify the chairman that she can sign the contract,
Okay.
because they took the vote to approve the contract subject to the receipt of the payment performance bond and authorize the chair to do so. So technically, as soon as she signs, you know, you've got the vote, you're technically going as soon as you sign the letter of award anyway. So we're good to go. All right? I did bring with me a set of complete documents for the building committee. This is the documents that we're building. This is the 100% bid set. That's the manual. That's the documents. And this is the 6 addenda. Each addenda is a different color. We do it by color so that we know which one's which. So I'm gonna leave you with a set of everything for the building committee. I'm gonna ask that the project dog send us all the return sets so you can have them.
Are they wet stamped already?
I don't know, I think we sent, I think they didn't send a wet stamp down?
No.
I'll make sure you, I'll take the responsibility of getting a set of wet stamped, 2 sets down to the building department so they can issue the building permit and send 1 set back to you on site.
Is all they're gonna require is 2?
Yeah, you only need 2, right? You want 3? 3? 2's good,
It's good.
all right? I don't need a wet stamp.
Yeah, and then we can have some of the other ones you get back from
The ones we
Project
get
Dog.
back, I'll just get them all to you,
I'd be grateful.
all right? I mean, that's just less printing you have to do for some of the small stuff. All right, other than that, I wanted you to meet the contractor. You did before I got here.
Well, technically,
We did.
we did, but we didn't. So why don't you introduce yourself to the committee and to the watching public?
Oh my God.
I know.
Dave Ferraro, APC is my company, and thank you for the opportunity.
Dave, I'm Pat Dillon. I'll probably go around the table. Colleen Thompson, she's the chair.
Same here.
Nancy Butler is the former clerk of the town. Art is been on the board of various committees in town. You know, project manager. Down the end is our Chinese food guy, Bob Carling. He's the electrical inspector, building inspector. We got Harry Wakefield. He's on the committee, various positions, Board of Health in town. Mark Russo, Board of Selectmen. And Ross, resident expert.
Well, that's one member.
Yeah.
John's on his, he's running the late.
John's running late, let's get down before he gets here, he can talk. I think what we need to know is when you think you're gonna start, physically start, so that we make sure we're out of the way. He's clearly moving to get all the stuff out of the way, but you had indicated to me you had a little ways to go through all the snow to melt, so you didn't make a mess.
Yep,
Is
we're
that
looking to
still the
start
plan?
we're looking to start in April.
April,
Yeah, clear the trees, grub them. We're still trying to set it up. I need obviously the official contract for the building department for what those guys do, so we'll get right in for that. I think we've got the insurance already pulled. And it's really just lining up the folks to grub it and do the right thing. You guys, in a month from now, you guys are ready, or say 2 weeks, you guys are gonna be cleared? Is this all cleared out here, or?
Define cleared.
All owner,
clearing means there's nothing there.
All our stuff, like the Connex, we'll probably take down the
Yeah.
fence,
Yeah,
you know, the
you
parking
need the fence
signs.
down?
Yeah, we should
I'll
take
take
it, yeah.
everything down
If
what
the
you
fence
need.
is on, if the fence is on the drawings for him to take down, you don't have to take it down.
Okay,
All right?
I don't
You
know.
have to take, if you pick the site up and tipped it over and it fell down, if it's connected, you don't take it down. If it's not connected, like a Connex box or cars or things like that, it's gotta go.
Parking signs, all that stuff.
He's gotta take care of all that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can pull those out, but how much parking are we gonna be limited to back here while you're working?
I think you were gonna obviously park machinery out there till we excavate.
I mean, in our,
So the police need some parking
Okay.
space, if possible.
You're not gonna get any of that area. You're
This,
gonna-
this parking area here?
And behind, yeah, you're out of this area,
Okay.
all right? He gets the whole area, all right?
Yay! I don't know where we're gonna
What-
put everything. It's a mess out there.
I understand. What I think would be good, rather than to try to adjudicate by committee, is we have our first kickoff meeting with the designer, and establish our formal meetings, because we're gonna want, as project manager, we're gonna be at every meeting at once a week, and we're gonna want to see the RFI logs, the PCO logs, the ASI logs from the architect, and we want to make sure that the submittal, we're tracking the submittal log. My job is to protect these guys from you and the architect. So if the architect's slowing you down, my job's to get the architect to go faster. If you're slowing down, my job's to get you to go faster. So I recognize that we're a pyramid. There's three of us. There's the owner, which is the committee, myself under the committee, and then the architect and the contractor. Together we make a unified team. But someone on the team is always lagging, and it's going to be our job to make sure that doesn't happen. I am absolutely adamant that we're paying the architect a pretty good sum of money for construction period services, and I want to make sure that we get our money's worth. I want to make sure that the submittals are returned quickly. I want to make sure that they come in proper. He's got a system I'm sure he wants, and I think what we ought to do is just set up a date, and make that a meeting date, and that'll be our meeting date weekly at any time. Once we go forward with construction and he actually comes out here, I'm asking the building committee not to talk to the contractor and not to talk to the subcontractors. You are officials of the town, and you saying that's not right, it gives them an impetus to try and correct what's not right, and then all of a sudden I get a note and attached with a little proposal saying, oh yeah, we're gonna correct that because so-and-so said so. Do I think it's gonna happen? No. Does it happen on every job? Usually once or twice. If we can be conscious of it, it won't happen. If there's something that you don't like, immediately call me or email me, and we'll get it corrected if it's wrong, and if it's not wrong, we'll explain to you why it's not wrong. So, we have a tremendous amount of knowledge on this table, believe it or not. There's a lot of people that have done construction for a number of years. So some things may not look right to them going in, that might be right per the documents. So we have to make sure that we're not doing a lot of this. We're going to need to get a schedule from you, a complete schedule from you as soon as possible, and a complete schedule of values. On the trades that you don't have under contract yet, you can give us your estimated value, we'll break it down at a later date, so that when you get your first payment, the breakdowns will be there for the trades that are there. We're gonna need a copy of every filed subcontractor contract. That's a requirement. And we're gonna start tracking the day that the guy comes out with his chainsaw. We'll start tracking the prevailing wage law and the certified payrolls. That's really all I have to say. I'm excited.
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
And
But how does that
I-
relate to me parking out back here?
Huh?
How does all that relate to me parking out back?
Well, we have.
That's where we were.
I'm gonna explain it to you, Chief, because I went 100 miles an hour. The first meeting, there'll be 5 or 6 of us there. Whoever the committee designates can go to a meeting. And we're gonna sit around a table, we're gonna walk through the plans, we're gonna go through the limno work lines, we're gonna go through anything that needs to be adjusted on the limno work lines. For example, if you have to have access to something, we have to provide it for you. We think we caught it all in the contract documents and the 6 addenda, and hopefully we did, but if we didn't, the project meeting is where we document it and it becomes part of the process.
I'd like to have access to this back door, it's where our cell is and the Sally port, so,
And that may be possible. You know, it might be something where we close it for 2 weeks, or we do the work that's right in front of it.
That's fine, yeah.
You follow what I'm
I
saying?
can work with that.
I mean, so those are things that are intimate, not global, and we're at a global, we're global right now. We just got the contract, the i's and the t's are dotted, council has approved everything, and we're good to go.
So when you start the weekly project meetings, you want members of this committee there?
Traditional, this is entirely up to you. For it to be a, do I have to listen to someone who doesn't go through the chair? Do I have to?
Not if it's him.
Traditionally, one person usually attends the meetings for the committee. It's not uncommon for others to pop in or sit in, but one person will sit in the meetings.
And
Once we get beyond a couple, we start getting into posting and issues of open meeting law, because we will be conducting business.
And would you prefer a consistent person, a knowledgeable person?
Consistent might not be possible all the time, but we should at least have a couple people probably that want to,
No, thank you, sir.
That's entirely up to you. I mean, it really doesn't matter, and the reason I say it doesn't matter is we expect that the police chief's going to be attending a lot of the meetings. Usually the end user does, so if it was a fire station, the fire chief usually would attend, or the deputy.
And these are daytime meetings
These are going to be daytime meetings, usually 9 o'clock in the morning,
here?
in his trailer when the trailer gets here. But we'll do them here until the trailer gets here and gets hooked up,
Okay.
all right?
And so do you have a date for that first meeting?
Well, that is a global issue. When do you want meetings? Tuesdays?
Star of the day.
So we all want a sweatshirt.
Well, I guess you'd ask, throw it right back at you. What works for you folks? 10 o'clock works for us, but what day is that? I think we've got a school we're building now, that's on Tuesday, I believe. Does Thursday work for you folks? Keeps off Monday, stays off Friday?
Yep,
If it wouldn't,
Thursday's fine.
Thursdays.
I'll verify it with the designer,
yeah.
because he has to participate in every meeting. So, because you're gonna have questions, and the designer's gonna have to issue answers. So,
Does it make sense to set that meeting now?
the first one, you can set it for a week. No, we're not doing the 5th, because that's opening day. And I'm a season ticket holder, and I'm going opening day.
So we'll meet in the box, it's fine. Really good.
We can do the 5th at 9 a.m. so I can get to February on time.
I'd like 2 weeks, if we could set it from 2 weeks now and just kind of give context, the courtesy of hey, here's what we're thinking, what makes
So
sense.
the 12th. Right?
4/12,
Yep.
tentative.
Yeah, I'm gonna send him a text right now.
10 a.m.?
Okay, is somebody able to attend that meeting? At 10 a.m. on April 12th?
Yep.
I plan to be there with the permission of the board.
Yes, absolutely.
The what?
I plan to attend that.
Well, when you walked out of the building, what I said was usually the end user attends most of the meetings. Because we're gonna start talking about changes to the building, and you're gonna say, you can't do that,
You can't take away my office?
you know? Yeah, we need a bigger room for the boiler. I think we'll put it in the chief's office.
So I might want to attend that one if that's all right, just because
First
it's the first one, yeah.
Good. And then going forward, what is this committee's meeting schedule?
That depends on how much latitude you give the OPM. If this committee wants to,
Who's the OPM?
you,
guy doesn't buy you pizza.
Yeah.
chief, they pay me below minimum wage, I should file a claim with FSLA.
This board has been working together
We'll
for
try not to
many years
adjudicate.
now. And so everyone's really comfortable with each other. Dan, how long have you been on board now, Dan? A
Too
year?
long.
A year and a half?
I took this job thinking it would be built by now. But he kept,
So did
how
we.
much did we lose on the basement? 6 months on the basement? 6 months?
Bob's been dragging anchor the whole time?
He's the dragon
That's
anchor.
what he's drawing on there right now is the basement.
Addenda 7.
Basement in.
I mean, we should have the latitude to be able to make monetary changes up to an amount you're comfortable with. And the reason being is, a project will start gaining flow, and we're conscious of what the contingency is on the project. And when we get to 4 or 5 of them together, we'll call a meeting to approve a formal change order with the 4 or 5 PCOs in it. The only significant changes that I see that are remotely possible here are related to, whether the HVAC fits within the structure and, anything related to site, because, once you start digging, you don't know what you have under the ground. Everything else, I suspect, will be minor coordination things that we'll do in the field, and I don't suspect that we'll have many changes. But at the end of this job, there'll probably be about 45 technical construction changes, $200 here, minus $400 there, $1,100 here, that type of thing. Because you are gonna have, every project has changes. I've only done one project in my entire career that had no changes. Which was only because we didn't have any money. And the contractor knew it.
And like we do?
No, we don't, but we have enough to cover,
Pizza?
So,
what is a feasible amount to give you approval for?
that's up to you. We generally ask for up to 5,000 per occurrence and no greater than 20,000 per change order. So and don't forget, you're gonna get from me, through the chair, the weekly meeting minutes that include the PCO log, include the submittal log, the RFI log, so you can track what we're doing. So if he comes in and has a PCO and he wants $2,200, as soon as he puts it in, that's something that we have to respond to. So we will respond to it. We may reject it, we may reduce it, we may ask for clarification, we may ask for more backup. There's a lot of things that will happen. PCO 1 may get rejected and ask for more information, and then it becomes PCO 1R, PCO 2R, PCO 3R, and then all of a sudden it's gonna say approved, all right, or rejected. I thought there'd be about 45 changes, minor changes. You might have 70 requests. He doesn't have full control over his file submitters. He has to pass through their requests. He can't say, this is ridiculous. He'll pass them through, and we'll fight that battle with each individual file submitter when the time comes. File submitters, if you remember, I told you, they have more protections than a spotted turtle, right?
So then as our OPM, if a PCO is for $4,000, you're going to be aware that somewhere we're going to have to either come up with that $4,000 or, cut it someplace else or balance it.
No, we have a
or-
contingency.
Okay.
The contingency's in the budget. If you recall, I cut
Yes.
my time so you'd have a contingency. So, we have a contingency, and I wouldn't recommend the project going forward without a contingency.
Okay, so I just
So it'll transfer
make sure
from
we all know this.
contingency. And if contingency runs out, it'll start transferring from furniture,
Okay.
all right?
Okay, so then I'd like a motion for the committee to approve the OPM, the ability to do a PCO up to $5,000,
Authorized.
authorized.
Right. The actual vote will be you guys when we meet, whether it's every other week or every month or however it goes. And then it's Board of Selectmen actually formally sign the change orders because they're the contract authority.
Okay,
All right, but once we give the authorization, all right, then they'll keep going.
okay.
I know it sounds scary from where you sit. It's the process.
I mean, at worst, if there was something,
If there's something bad, we're gonna call an emergency meeting,
okay.
real bad.
And-
If there's something that's sorta bad, we'll call a regular meeting.
But also the way that we're scheduling this should, I mean, so if you meet on Thursday, we can easily have a meeting the following Wednesday, and you're
Right.
not taking too much time.
Right.
So that's, I mean, I think as we go through this, I mean, I'm not saying that we have to all be available every Wednesday, but I would just keep that as a pencil in that we may need a meeting.
The Wednesday nights?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time we won't, but, that way enough of us can be here to have that discussion, I think. And it's not like it's happening Tuesday and you have to wait till the following Wednesday, so I think the Thursday piece is really good.
The next thing that you're gonna need to do in about a month, or maybe two at the latest, is have a furniture subcommittee, and we'll get started on furniture. And start figuring out what we need for furniture, so that we can start finding the most efficient way to get the furniture. There's 100 ways to skin the cat on furniture. We can bid it, we can go off the state bid list, we can go to the state bid list and negotiate below the ceiling of the state bid list. So there's a few things that we can do on furniture. We're gonna need to do the same with, or get assigned security, fire alarm monitoring. There's a whole bunch of things that become annual costs to the department, like any other department that has a building, that we're gonna have to start thinking about as the building's going up. But we're gonna cover it all.
Okay, so just to back up a little, we still need that authorization.
So
Question for you, Dan. You've been through the specs a lot tighter than we have. We've just glossed over them. How confident are you in the technical aspect of the specs? I mean,
300 mistakes. Probably. Are any of them drastic? Probably not. I think I've said from day one, once we get the roof on this building, we're in a far different plane, project cost-wise, than we are until the roof goes on the building. That's really a big day when the roof goes on the building. Then we're on the inside and we're talking about coordination and we're talking about conflicts. Before we get to that point, we've got foundations, we've got, making sure grades are right, things like that. The geotech comes out, and we do a couple test pits, those kind of things. All of that's in here. The actual material specifications, there's absolutely nothing in this building that is fancy. It's all common with multiple vendors. We'll be watching the vendors. There are 3 vendors listed in each section of this book, but also under Chapter 149, the contract has the right to request to do a substitution and not use one of the 3. But that substitution comes with a substitution form, and the substitution form has to indicate why they need the substitution, and the architect has to approve that the substitution is of equal quality. Right? It's not about price, it's about equal quality. Sometimes they do substitutions not because it's a cheaper product, but because it's something they can get in 2 weeks, and the submittal was forgotten. And they're like, we can't get these 3 for 6 weeks, we need it in 2 weeks, we're proposing this, we're gonna take $1,000 hit by doing that. But they have to follow the process. On every nut and screw, piece of wood, shingle, felt paper, concrete, dirt they bring in, everything has to be submitted and approved by the designer. That's why he gets the big fee to do the review during construction period services. So when they draw this, any error that's on here and in here gets corrected during the submittal process. And that becomes the RFI. You heard me say an RFI log? An RFI is request for information. Page 36 of the specifications calls for X, the drawings calls for Y. They're kind of in conflict. Which direction do we go? Well, the specifications will tell you to go to the most expensive one, or those indicate whatever's in the specifications, or whatever's in the drawings, or whatever's in the structural, or whatever's in the electrical, depending on where the conflict arises. So every time an RFI comes in, we all go through those things to make sure we're following the process. We will make mistakes. I will make mistakes. He will make mistakes. The designer will make mistakes. But we'll probably catch almost all of them before we occupy the building. I'm trying to be realistic. It's a public construction project. It's not going to be perfect. We're gonna get complaints from the baseball people. We're gonna get complaints from the employees in the building when he's running diesel machines and your first year makeup's pulling air into the
Yeah, we
building.
don't have
You don't have any fresh air makeup? We're not gonna get complaints from the building because they don't have fresh air makeup. So, things like that are why we have the weekly meetings.
Okay.
Okay?
Can I just go back to,
Can we?
In a lower amount, or,
Will a change order result in a lower amount? Absolutely. We'll have a few of those.
okay.
And an example of that may be, hey, Dan, we found a better way to build the mousetrap. Can we do it this way and this way? We think we can save some money. He's giggling down there, but he knows that he's thinking about giving us some credits.
Yeah.
All right, can we just hold for a second? So why don't we deal with that motion that's still open?
Yes.
So I would make the motion.
To authorize the OPM to do a change order up to $5,000.
Yeah, we would
PCO.
authorize it.
Cumulative.
A PCO, yes.
Cumulative change orders not to exceed 20. That way, we have to have a meeting to approve the ledger before it gets to 20.
Okay. Do we have a second
You
on
know
that?
where you are
Second.
in the project.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good,
Now have
thank you.
that.
can I just follow up then on, so you would go ahead, authorize it, work would continue. At some point, the Board of Selectmen are going to get that change order and need to sign it.
Correct.
But we would know at that point that you had approved it.
Correct.
Okay.
You won't get anything. A bill, a pizza, without my signature.
Obviously.
Nothing gets paid on this project without my signature. If it gets paid and I don't have my signature on it and this board's vote, then there's something seriously wrong. And we've got to correct it because that's when we run into trouble. We're going to give you that budget I gave you. We're going to update that as the project goes along so you know what you've spent and you can track the bills. I'm going to have all the bills and ledgers. You look puzzled.
I'm concerned with the 5,000.
Too high or too much?
Too high.
Too high?
You already voted.
I know. You asked me what I was,
Well, he voted no, and it's the first no vote we've ever had, and I'm not gonna sleep tonight.
Yeah, you're gonna get,
You voted no? I didn't hear that. Okay.
the most you're gonna get, so you figure 5,000, so the most on any one change order is 4 PCOs, proposed change orders?
No. The change order will be up to 20,000. The PCO is up to 5,000.
Right, so that's what I'm saying, 4
Yeah.
times 5 is 20?
Yeah, but you're not gonna
Still
have
five.
4 that are 5.
Yeah, we're decent folk, I know everyone says that, but it's not, what can you do for $5,000 these days?
no,
Believe
I
I
just
scratched
watched,
my head
I
too.
just watched so many jobs go down the tube because of changes, that's all. I'm
I'm
gun
gonna
shy.
state one thing. When I started P3 in 2008, it was because I didn't like my OPM. I was you on the building committee. Actually, I was selectman.
For me.
And I was responsible for the $51 million high school. And my OPM was horrific. And I'd go to meeting after meeting, and I spent 30 hours a week on that project as a volunteer. And it was, the way it was done was wrong. So since then, I started P3. We have not had a project that has ever gone over budget, not one. We've never had a project that's exceeded its appropriation. We have had some where we had to trim furniture, or we've had to trim something to make it work. But we've always found a way to get it done. I expect the same in this project too. I really do. We're in a good position right now. We've got a contract that has excellent references. He's clearly making a lot of money because he was in Florida last week and I wasn't. All right, because I'm getting paid below minimum wage.
I'm looking
Is
at
that the new pizza?
That's a pizza. That's a
Pizza
Yeah.
here, pizza and below minimum wage for the next year. Here we go.
So that's really all we have. I mean, we're gonna get started. We'll have that first meeting. You'll get the meeting minutes, the PCO logs, the RFI logs, and they'll get more and more in depth as we go along. That first meeting will be just a set of minutes. We'll probably attach a schedule if we get the schedule in time, and the schedule of value. The schedule of value is pretty important because it establishes the payment, how the payment works. And we have to approve that. The designer and the OPM have to approve the schedule of values. Because contractors like to front end the work that happens in the beginning, so they have a ton of cash out of the project right out of the gate. And we don't want them to have a ton of cash. We want them to have enough cash and let them wet their beak. But we don't want to let them have too much. So we'll make sure the schedule of values is correct. But most of the schedule of values on this job is dictated by the file subject numbers. There isn't a whole hell of a lot outside that.
Yes?
I have a couple of things. Mark, this probably falls in your domain, is parking, okay, over here, because that's gonna be PDQ, as long as the weather holds up. You know, obviously, and it's just my thought, fire department can park on the far side, they work 12-hour shifts all along the far driveway.
Along the
And-
library? Along the
Well,
library end?
on this side, there's plenty of vacant spaces over there. It's a
We're gonna
little
have
further
to-
walk to the trailer, but that's too
My
bad.
police officers and police cars are probably gonna have to park over there as well if we get blocked out back here.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
with
expecting that to a certain extent.
with equipment coming in around here, I mean, we see the cruisers coming out. And if you've got dump trucks and trailers and everything, you might be wiping out a couple of those first parking spaces right there for the heavy equipment to make the bend.
We'll be able to facilitate them getting in and out. If you just come into town hall and ask people to move the cars, if that's
Yeah,
what it takes.
yeah, but I mean, just as an overthought,
Well, I know the parking along the side of the building here, that one spot that's
Handicap
parallel,
one.
the handicapped,
Yeah.
I mean, can we remove
That's
the
an
sign?
important parking spot.
yeah, that's
Can we remove the sign so that we can temporarily say, you know, it doesn't indicate that there's parking
That's
there?
where Bob parks, so we're gonna move that to the Dennett School.
Oh, you're keeping it in front of it?
Well, he's got one at the Happy Dragon already, but, you know.
I do want to say one thing though, I can't do the 12th. It's the one day I can't do because I teach a class one day a year and that's the day.
We have a
the
change
Mia
already,
class?
Dan.
Huh?
The MIA class?
No, I teach a project management class at Westfield State for one day.
Thought it was when
I wish it was Zoom, but especially, you know, whatever.
So the 12th is out then.
So can we do the 11th just for the first meeting, then we'll go to Thursdays? All right? Change order number 1, change the time. It's not really a change order.
Okay.
The 11th. The 12th was the day the Titanic sailed. We don't want to go that day. We want to go the day before, when everything was still fresh painted.
They're gonna tell us the Yankees were in town the day of the 12th.
They are, actually. But I don't go to the opening day game and maybe a game in September if it's close.
Okay, the second thing that I had, and this goes back, when did we last meet?
Month ago.
Yeah, you were going to talk to Zell about an estimate for a driveway cut.
Correct. I have not completed that task, but I will. All right? It's not that I haven't asked for it, I just haven't gotten it. The bidding process was just a big, long thing, and I ran around for the last couple of weeks getting contracts and notices of awards, and I went to the selectmen twice, and I just didn't get to it. You'll have to accept my apology, I'm deficient.
But you're honest.
Yeah.
Dan is deficient.
How do you spell deficient? This is gonna be awesome. You know,
PALLOTTA.
when's your town meeting?
May.
Middle of May.
Middle of May?
17th.
Yeah, I mean, by the time middle of May comes, you're gonna be seeing a lot of activity on that side. And
16th and
You're gonna be able to do your report at
16.
town meeting. This is gonna be awesome. People are gonna be excited. It's a big deal.
Okay. So you're having your first meeting on the 11th. Do we want to meet immediately after that, or are we just going to play it by ear going forward?
I don't see a need to meet on the 11th.
No, I was thinking like the 18th.
I don't see a need yet.
Okay.
But if it arises on the 11th, I'll call it.
Okay.
I'm not shy about coming down here for a meeting.
If you.
Starting to get used to it.
If you do need to, you need to know during the day on the 11th, well, you need to know by the 12th to call it because
Right.
Monday will be a holiday, so Monday won't count as a day. So we'll need to set it up.
It's also vacation week. I don't know how many of you take, have kids that you go to Disneyland.
Well, some of us have already been down, so.
I was at a cheerleading competition. I was a backup.
Cheerleading, what?
Really? You went to a cheerleading competition?
Yeah, that was a Saturday and Sunday, the Nationals.
You must have daughters, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Are you on the same one with Stacy Helms kid?
We do the
Kingston?
It's we're ECE out of Hingham.
ECE? I think their team's out of, I don't know. She goes all over the place too.
All right, anything else we need this evening?
Yes, the prevailing wage data, is receiving that electronically acceptable, and to whom?
Okay, so that's a good question. I was gonna go over that in the first meeting.
We can
All right,
pass.
but what we do with the prevailing wage is we ask you to send it to us,
P3?
P3.
Okay.
And we're gonna give them a binder just like this when we're done, so that after we leave, they get the requests from the unions for the wage rates, you have it. You'll also get it electronically, all right? But we'll take the paper copy and the electronic copy, and we'll talk to the town administrator so that when they get a request, we immediately get it in my office, and we have someone on our staff that does nothing but prevailing wage requests. Right? Isn't it awful? Believe me, as soon as the building permit's pulled, you're gonna start getting, Brothers for Fair Contracting, when I see the wage rates for Billy the Kid out of Whitman. So, it happens.
He's like this now.
No, way worse in the county.
Billy the Kid's at Whitman was a bar.
Is that a bar? Gee, is anyone surprised that he knows all the bars in the county?
Town of Whitman, yeah.
All right, so anything else for this evening then?
So no next meeting
No next
as of
meeting
yet?
scheduled right now.
TBD.
I know this sounds bizarre, but the hard part of the project for the building committee is done. The design's the hard part. The construction part is you have to formally vote and review and arbitrate problems that we have, if any. But if the project goes relatively smooth, you're not gonna meet as often as you think. You're gonna have to meet once a month to pay bills, at a minimum.
Sure will be.
He's already out there talking to you guys. He's leaving here to go talk to the tree.
I'm leaving here, I'm going to Whitman. For pizza.
Venus Cafe, best pizza. I like it.
All right, that's it then?
There you go.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor? All right. Thank you for watching.